Hey, what's going on? So, tonight's PTSD buddy chat is just me, and I'm going to talk about my story. And during this, while I'm sharing my story, if anyone wants to send me a private message or wants to video chat with me and send like a little message or anything, I got my laptop here so I can talk to people at the same time. And I got a few pictures I'm going to show you. And anyway, um, I guess start at the beginning. Start as my PTSD came from me being a soldier. That's where most of it came from. Now, uh, because I go to therapy, I go see a psychologist. They've made me realize that part of my PTSD came from when I was in grade 3, I think it was. I was in grade 3, so I was what, 8 years old, something like that. My house caught on fire. So during the house fire, it was just me, my brother, and my mom. The three of us got trapped upstairs in this house. Um, I remember being woken up by mom out of a bunk bed, pulling me down, telling me that the house was on fire. And we ran down the stairs. It was a 2-story house. We ran downstairs, and Dad opened the back door. When it did, I guess the oxygen got into the fire, and the fucking house exploded. Blew Dad into the yard, blew us back, so we were trapped in the house. And we got back upstairs, and we were in a room where there was 2 windows. And I remember my brother throwing a TV at one window and fire coming in, and it burned my ear, man. I had like blisters all around my ear. And he took a sewing machine, threw it through another window. And at that time, I couldn't breathe. I went back to my bed and wrapped a blanket around my face. And he didn't see me. He pushed Mom out the window so Mom could be safe. He didn't see me, so he thought I was with Mom, and he jumped out, not realizing that his 8-year-old brother was still there in the burning house. And I still got a scar on my back because I tried to go back downstairs. I was scared as 8 years old to jump through the window. Went back downstairs. I burned myself. Come back up. Man, I'm 40 years old, and I can still remember the fire underneath my, like I can feel the warmth of the floor because the fire was, burning the ceiling, right? And I was upstairs. So I could still remember the floor being hot. Anyway, it was an old window, man. It was like these wooden ones you pull up. So the glass was broke around the window, and I was more scared about the glass than I was, I think, about jumping out of a 2-story building. But anyway, I ended up jumping out of the building and surviving. So my doctor do think some of my PTSD comes from there. But I think it's mostly from Afghanistan. I was in Afghanistan, and well, first I joined the army. I joined the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. It's a pretty big, well-known regiment in Newfoundland. And my great uncle Walter was actually the first Newfoundlander killed in World War I. And I actually got a picture here. I'll show you. There he is. That is Walter McWhorter. He's buried over in Gallipoli, Turkey. He was actually the first Newfoundlander killed in World War I. He was 19 years old. Walter McWhorter actually survived. He survived something called, it was a book in Newfoundland called Death on the Ices, where sealers were killed. But anyway, that's another story. Walter had a brother named George, and George lied about his age and joined the army to go to fight in World War I. So Walter, the picture I just showed you, I guess being a good brother, joined the army and went to war to protect his brother. And the story goes that Walter was killed by mortar fire in the Battle of Gallipoli, and that's where he's still buried today. And George kept on fighting. George made it through a legendary battle called Beaumont Hamel, and he was captured. I forget the name of the battle, but he was captured and kept in a prison camp for 9 months. And horrid stories that I've heard. I'm not going to share tonight because I don't think you want to hear these stories. But he went through some hard times, needless to say, in that prison camp during World War One. But growing up to those stories, I always wanted to be in the army. So I joined right on my birthday, man, when I was 17 years old. I joined. I was part of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment for 8 years until before I finally switched to trucker world. Became a MSc op. It's just this is a fancy way to say driver in the military, right? But I became a trucker, and in 2006, I went to Afghanistan. And here's a picture here of me from my tour. Ta-da! Look at that guy, hey? What a good-looking guy he is, man. Anyway, I remember the day that they took these pictures. They took these pictures one day, and one of the boys that was there, they said, asked the photographer, what are these pictures for, right? And the photographer actually said, these are the pictures that are being sent to CNN. So if we get killed, this is the picture that they'll show on CNN saying that this soldier was killed. So I heard that, and this is the face that I made when I heard that this is I call my death picture. This is what they're going to show if I die. I always remember that. Yeah, I don't look very happy, do I? Yeah. So I'm in Afghanistan. Let me see. Trigger warning. I'm going to tell an Afghanistan story. This is one that happened to me that involves my wife. Is that the same picture in your book? Yeah, that's the same picture that's in my first. That picture is actually in my first book. Yeah. I was in Afghanistan, and I'm on a satellite phone. I didn't spend much time on the camp. Yes, I have a Elza, I have a book. It's called A Soldier's Tale. I don't have a copy here to show you. I got a second book that's actually coming out this week. But anyway, I was on a satellite phone. Well, what I was driving a refueler, and I'll show you a picture of my refueler that I was in. See, this is when I drove overseas. It was 10,000 liters of diesel in that, right? And we buried it down because the Taliban was actually shooting at it. So we buried it down. That's why it's in the ground there a little bit, right? So I'm sitting in this truck one night, and I'm on a satellite phone talking to my wife now, Vanessa. She was my girlfriend at the time. But I'm sitting in that truck, and we're talking. And it's like, I don't know, midnight or something, 1 o'clock in the morning in Afghanistan time. It's pitch black. And as I'm talking to her, a rocket, RPG, goes over my truck. And she heard it on the phone, right? So the rocket goes over my truck, and she's like, "What was that?" And I didn't want to panic her, so I just said, "Yeah, that's the guys, and they're watching a movie on satellite phones. Don't worry, baby." And I said, "I gotta let you go though, because and I'll call you back, right?" So I hung up the phone. And she knew the difference. At least she says she did. She did now. But so I'm sitting there, and when the rocket goes over my truck, the alarms. We're on a place called Camp Wilson, right? And the alarms go off, and Camp Wilson is just a small square, and it's built up with bricks and 4 posts, and there's a man guarding each post, and inside there's infantry. It's a spot. I was commanding that. See, it's a spot where Canadian convoys would come in, and I would refill them with fuel and stuff like that. So the Taliban, anyway, I'm guessing the Taliban shot a rocket, and Stand 2 was called. But it's in the middle of the night, and nobody can see anything. And it's Canada's rules that you don't fire unless you have a target, right? Because you don't want to kill a civilian. So I'm sitting in my truck, and the second rocket goes over my head. And I'm like, holy fuck, you know what, man? They're shooting at my truck. Now, our training, I mean, I got a mounted truck, I got up armor, so I'm safe in the truck. But when they fired the third rocket, I'm like, they're shooting at my truck. Maybe I should get out of the truck, right? That was my thought. So I'm parked next to this fucking clay wall. I jump out and I get against the wall, and that's when machine gun fire went along the wall. And I remember sitting there, man, and I'm like, I'm sitting there looking at this truck, and a fourth rocket goes over my truck, man, and I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, if if I don't know if it's true or not, but at the time when you're sitting there and you're looking at rockets go over your truck, all I can think about is if a rocket hits that truck, I'm gonna die, right? So what do you do when you think you're about to die? So I still had the sat phone. So I picked up the sat phone and I called my mother. And my mom knew it was me that called because she every time I called, her caller ID would come up that it was a call from Hawaii, and I'm like, yeah, that's not the same pile of sand. Uh, but anyway, she picked up the phone and I said, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" And she was so excited that it was me. And she asked me how I was doing, and I said, "Don't worry about me, Mom." I said, just talk. I said, "How are you guys doing?" And Mom and Dad had a cabin that I always loved going to, and I said, "How's the cabin?" His dad's fishing now. My dad picked up the other end of the line, and he knew something was wrong. I told my mom and dad, I said, "Mom, listen, you tell everybody that I love them. And you tell them that I did my best over here. And I hope I'll see you soon." Anyway, I hung up the phone, and I watched as two more rockets shot over my truck. It was 6 in total rockets that shot at my truck, and we couldn't fire back because, like I said, I couldn't see the enemy. But they never hit the truck, man, and I survived it. Oh. But that's just one story, man. Like, let me see. I remember this other one, another trigger warning. I remember sitting at the gate being upset because our convoy was like about to leave the front of the or the through the front gate and head out, and as we got held up at the gate, and I was so mad, like, man, we're stuck at the gate. What's going on? What's going on? And then when I found out what was going on, I guess a kid that was beaten and gang raped made it to the front of the camp and was looking for attention, man. And I seen the kid, and oh my God, that's the one thing that I had a hard time dealing with overseas is when you find rape victims or people that were beaten. Oh, hard to deal with. But anyway, enough with the trigger stories. When I got back into Edmonton, that's where I was posted to at the time. I was at CFB Edmonton. And when I got home, after being in Afghanistan for 7 months, all I wanted to do, man, was go to a grocery store and just get some fruits and vegetables and like food that I grew up eating. So that's what I did, man. I went straight to the grocery store the day after I got back. No, I didn't go to the liquor store. I went to the grocery store, and I remember, man, going into the grocery store and going up and down the aisles and picking out the things that I wanted, man, and I was so excited. First thing I remember, man, when I walked into the grocery store, it's in the summer, right? So you know what it was like when it's hot and you're walking through the grocery store and it's like, oh, that air conditioning, oh, it was deadly. Anyway, I get my groceries, and when I got up to the checkout, there was a lot of people, man, there at the checkout. And excuse me, when I'm at the checkout and I see all these people that are there, my heart started beating really fast, man. My heart started beating really fast. And like, I couldn't breathe, man. I couldn't breathe, right? And anyway, I passed out, man. I passed out in the grocery store. And I found out now that a lot of people, their first panic attack is in a grocery store, right? But I passed out and I I was in a cereal aisle, so I fell into the honeycomb cereal. Yeah, I fell into the honeycombs and I was out cold. And I don't know how long I was out. I don't think I was out very long because I think I was out for a long time. I think I would wake up to a crowd of people around me because, you know, a big dude lying in the honeycombs. But I come to, I stood up, there's nobody around me. And I felt so embarrassed. I'm going to show you guys a couple more pictures here. Embarrassed, man. Here's a picture of me overseas too. I'm the guy in the right. They wanted to make fun of me because I don't really grow a beard, and this guy over here grows really good beard, not bad, half decent, right, crappy, and then super crappy because that's me. But I woke up and I remember going out. I remember waking up. This was me in Camp Wilson. Me waking up and just wanting to get the heck out of there, man. Get the heck out of there. And I ran out of the grocery store, ran back into my truck, and drove home really, really fast. And I went into the basement, and I hid away in the basement. Because I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what just happened. I had a panic attack or an anxiety attack. I had no idea what a panic attack was. I had no idea what an anxiety attack or anxiety. I didn't know. So I hid in the basement. And it was like I was terrified to talk to anybody. So I, at night, I would turn off all the lights. I'd have no lights going. I'd be sitting in the darkness. No TV going, no radio. Just drinking beer, man. Why are you giving me a weak connection, man? Sorry about that. It just stopped up that it had a weak connection. I stopped. So anyway, I'm sitting in the basement, and I think weeks, man. At least 2 weeks I was in the basement hiding away. I wouldn't have any kind of TV or any music going because I didn't want anyone to know I was home, man. So I remember, man, like people even I was on tour with, man, that I like brothers would come and knock on my door, man, and I would like sneak up and peek out the blinds, terrified, man. Wouldn't answer the door, wouldn't answer the phone, nothing, man. I was sitting in my house, starving and terrified of the outside. So yeah, thanks, Dean, man. Cheers, buddy. And Chris, I look little, man. You should see here. I'm not that little. And cheers to you too, Blaine. But yeah, Vanessa, my girlfriend, would bring groceries, bring food and everything, man. Like, I remember sitting there, man, sweating, man. Like, vehicles would pass by and the lights would shine in, and I needed the curtains closed all the time, man. I was hiding weapons around. Cheers, Elsa. Hiding, not guns or nothing, but like I had baseball bats hidden behind doors and things like that, right? Because I needed to know that everything was safe. But God love Vanessa, man. She's tricked me to get me to go outside. She tricked me. And if you're looking for a tip, if you're like a spouse of someone with PTSD and you want to get them outside, what Vanessa did was Vanessa would trick me into thinking that I was doing something for her. Yeah, it seemed like doing something for me was hard, but if I was doing something for her or something for Avery or something like that, it was easier. I was doing something for somebody else. That seemed easier to me. So she would always go like, "Oh, Jamie, we're out of milk, but I'm too tired to drive. Could you drive and come to the store with me?" And I'd be like, "Okay, man, yeah, because I gotta help Vanessa, right?" So she would trick me, and I would. Next thing I know, I'm at the grocery store, the place that I was just passing out at, right? What's that? Do you feel better talking about it? Yes, I do feel better also talking about it. The first time I spoke on stage was with an organization called Temakanter Memorial Trust. A man named Vince Savoy contacted me and asked me to speak. And I'm like, I remember the first time he asked me to speak on stage. I'm like, no way, man. I stand on stage and tell everyone that I'm having nightmares and I'm chicken shit of going outside. No. And go in front of a crowd. Anyway, it was terrifying. And Vanessa said, you know what? You got a book out. Everyone knows your story anyway in Newfoundland. What's the difference? Vanessa got a great way of putting it, right? So I said, why not? I'll do it. So I did it. I went out and I got on stage. It was 100 and I don't know how many people it was, and I shared my story on stage. And afterwards, when everyone coming up and wanting to share their story with me and wanting to talk about PTSD, I'm like, man, this is amazing. I love how I can connect with people. So I do public speaking all the time now, wherever I can. It's hard every time I do it, but I love doing it because I love talking to the people afterwards, right? But Chris, how did I eventually reach out for help? I ended up finally getting help because I was that person who was like, I don't need any help. I'm fine. Even though I just drove down the road and the guy in front of me was driving really slow, and as soon as we got to a stoplight, I put it in park and got out of my truck and ran up and punched his windshield, saying, "You effer, why are you driving so slow?" And yeah, but I don't have anger issues. And I grabbed somebody at work, but I don't have anger issues. I yelled at someone at 7-Eleven and tried to grab them. Yeah, but I kept saying I don't have anger issues. But then something happened where I had no choice but to get help. And I'll tell you what it is, Chris. Yes, Vanessa is awesome. What happened was I had a wisdom tooth, one, left to get out, right? And I had to get the wisdom tooth taken out. So I went to the dentist, and the dentist is like, do you want to get the Novocaine needle, or do you want to be put under? And I'm like, hey man, I've never been put under before. That sounds pretty cool. Let's do that, right? So I got put under. And it was a terrible idea, because now that I think about it, I'm like, you are having bad nightmares, Jamie. And you are not sleeping. So if you do pass out, you're probably going to be out really good. So I'm not thinking about it anyway. I want to be put under because I thought it was going to be quick and easy. I just go have a nap, wake up, and I'm good to go. So anyway, they put me out. And I guess as soon as they put me out, I went right into a nightmare. So you can picture me now in this dentist chair, and I'm yelling in this dentist chair very loudly, fire control orders. Now, if you don't know what fire control orders are, that's what soldiers yell out. So if I want to let you know where an enemy is, I say range 200 meters, lone tree, sniper, letting you know where the enemy is. So I'm yelling out fire control orders, enemy seen, lone enemy sniper seen at the base of tree, range 200 meters. And I'm yelling this out in my sleep, in my dreams, sitting in this dentist chair. And this dentist now don't know what Jesus is going on. And me being a Newfoundlanders, when they tell their stories, they kind of talk like Power Rangers, and their hands go. So I'm in the dentist chair, and my hands are now going, and I'm yelling, range 200 meters, carry on. And it's a female dentist, and I guess I accidentally, I hit her in a boobie. Sorry, I don't mean to, but anyway, I hit her. And you know how the dentist got the tray of tools? I'm in my dream, and I'm yelling and stuff, and I smashed the whole tray of tools and instruments that the dentist had. So the dentist had to get help, and they tied my hands to the dentist chair, so I couldn't move. And they tied me back, and they put a machine on my mouth and cranked my mouth open and did their work, right? So when that happens in a military dentist, word gets around, you end up in mental health. So started my therapy. Here's another picture from Afghanistan. Got the thermometer. Bam! It was warm. Yes. Yes, it was warm. Here's a picture of from one of our convoys. See the water? The water right here? The only thing I didn't like about this water is sometimes when you're driving down this road, water here, you see a guy right here, he would be washing his body. And then a guy down here would be probably washing his goat or something. And then there'd be a guy down here taking a pee. And then the guy down here right here is getting drinking water. Yeah, it's what's going on. Anyway. I took notes so it wouldn't be just last for words. Did I answer everyone's questions so far? I think so. Anyway, so all this stuff was going on, and Vanessa wanted me to get help. So I remember going to work in Edmonton. And I was going to work, and I'm like, okay, I'm started therapy, and I'm gonna let work know that I'm going to therapy, and that, you know, I'm going through something. I don't understand it, but I'm going, right? So when I went into work one day, and we're going in for as PT, right, physical training, and we're going for a run, and so I show up in my PT gear. I can't believe there's weak connection, man. Come on, stop giving me a weak connection. So I show up my PT gear, and I got my jogging suit on, and Sergeant Major comes out, and sorry guys, it disconnected and it's connected again. I'll keep going. So anyway, I'm there in my PT gear, and Sergeant Major walks out, and he's like, everyone who is here for PT and going for a run on this side of the room, and everyone who's on medical chit on this side of the room. And I watched this guy, Sergeant Major, like, get these guys who are on medical chit. And these are people with like, crutches and bad limbs and stuff like that, right? And I watched them make them pull out their medical chits and say, you know, read out loud what was on their chit, and really making them feel bad about being on shit, right? And I'm like, oh my God, these are people with crutches and broken limbs and like slings. And if he's giving them a hard time, how the frig am I going to tell him that I'm depressed, right? You don't. So you fucking hide it, man. You hide it, right? You don't tell him. You go home and it ends up being taken out on your family or things like that, man, right? It sucks, right? Let me see, what else can I talk about? But yeah, you know, man, it makes you scared to tell people, right? Here's a picture of that's one of my favorites. Yes, I am a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. That picture was taken 2007, I think it was. That was just after my tour. Yeah. Do you know what it's like to have PTSD and be a Toronto Maple Leaf fan? It sucks. Because the Toronto Maple Leafs always make you angry. Well, guys, that's 30 minutes. That's how long the PTSD buddy chats are. So I'm going to stop it there and shut it down. But if you like it, we're going to do this again, because I've only told about half my story. All right? We'll do this again real soon. But don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to like our videos. The more people that subscribe, the more I can do these videos. All right? I want to keep going. Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to start it up again right away with part 2. All right? Because I got a lot more to tell. But I'm just going to cut it off here, because YouTube videos are always better when they're less than an hour, you know? We'll just do half-hour videos. They're better. So if you want to tune in, part 2 is coming up. Stay tuned.